Hey Mike, it's your friend Eric here, also known as Benedeem. Ever since you sent the drum tour video to me, I've been excited to do one of my own and share my own drum set with you. So I'm here at my friend's house and we're gonna check out one of my drum sets. So stay tuned and I hope you enjoy the video. All right, here it is, Mike. This is a Ludwig Element SE. The SE, of course, stands for Special Edition. And the shells are, I don't know much about it, but they're made of like cherry and gumwood. Not sure if that's good, but it sounds good. Got the Ludwig logo on the bass drum. Always want a logo drum head for the Rezo head, but yeah, this is the newest to me drum set that I own. And let's just give you a quick little rundown of it. But first, I'll show you a little time lapse of me setting it up. Now, bear with me. It's been about 2 years since I've set this up, so it might look a little clumsy, but I'm very particular about how I set things up, and even now I think it could use a little tweaking. But yeah, enjoy that, and once I bring it back, we'll go through some things. Alright, so here's what I call the driver's seat, or sometimes I refer to it as my office. But this is all the drum set that anyone needs, in my opinion. Start off with my favorite component of any drum set, the snare drum. This is a 5x14 Ludwig Superphonic snare drum. Actually, a pretty funny story how I ended up with this. I used to be really into surfing reverb, and I didn't need a snare drum. I was doing a show at my alma mater, SUNY Morrisville, and so I had some extra cash from that, and I was just surfing reverb, and I saw a listing for a new Superphonic, and I ended up getting this for significantly cheaper. I threw an offer than what it would have. It was a brand new drum. I threw an offer, and they accepted it, and I didn't expect that, so I was kind of like, oh, I guess I'm buying a new snare drum. I think at the time they were retailing for like $550, and I got it shipped to my house for under $500. I just checked the pricing. So today's pricing, I think this is like a $650 drum, so I think I did pretty good, and it just sounds absolutely amazing. I mean, this is just the gold standard for snare drums, in my opinion. It still wears the original head. It's just in great shape, and I love this drum. I was always a proponent for having a matching snare drum with my setup, and this drum kind of changed that. It's just music, literally. I do have the matching snare drum for this shell pack, though. The Mod Orange, I meant to mention that. It's a very popular finish Ludwig did back in like the 60s and 70s called Mod Orange. There was a few other finishes they offered for this drum set, but let me go grab that snare drum real quick. So here's that, the matching snare drum. I just love this finish. I love that big Element SE badge. I really haven't done too much with this. It's just, like I said, I got that snare drum, and it's just, there's no point to even playing anything else. I still would want, if I were to buy a drum set, to have a matching snare if available. A lot of times I'll use it as a side snare. And actually I'll do it with the snares off, so it's just a little bit of a different sound that you can play with. But yeah, so here's the matching snare, and that's the same 5x14, which is my preferred size for a snare drum. So then we move down to the bass drum. It is a 20-inch kick drum, and it's got a Evans EMAD head on it, and those are pretty neat heads. I've got a coated one on one of my other sets, but it has a little ring you can stuff some additional muffling. This has got some, looks like foam packing in there. It sounds pretty good. Love the 20-inch kick drum. It's just so compact, and you can really get it tuned to any sound you really need. And for what I do, playing shows where I'm stuffed, you know, backstage behind the curtain with limited space, it's just so nice to have such a compact setup, and just tear down and moving it is way easier. Also, so then we got the rack tom here. This is a 12-inch. This has got Remo vintage Emperor heads on it. Again, same heads that were on it when I bought it. I bought this kit from a friend, if I didn't mention that. I've actually bought 2 kits from him. So yeah, it's, you know, nothing special, just a good solid 12-inch rack tom. And then I've got, you know, the big 14-inch, which I had never really played a 14-inch before, and this is kind of changing my opinion on really my preferred setup, because this drum just sounds fantastic, and it sounds so big, but it's you know, a little tiny drum. That again, it has the coated vintage Emperor by Remo. I'm more of an Evans guy myself, but these are the heads that were on it when I bought it, and I think they sound pretty good. So I just kind of went with it. Ideally, I would like a whole matching setup. I just kind of like when all the heads match, with the exception of this one. I probably would never change the Superphonic until I need to, because it just sounds so good, and I mess with a good thing. But yeah, that's the Ludwig Element SE in Mod Orange. They offer these in 3 or 4 different finishes. I think it would be pretty neat to collect them all one day, because this set is just fantastic. It was not the most high-end drum kit available. You know, I'd say it's more like a mix between like a beginner / intermediate setup, but it just sounds so fantastic. The shells, whatever they are, the cherry gumwood mix just is great. One other thing I want to mention, the stock setup here, I'll see if I can show you here. There's a little sliding tom mount, and then there's an arm that comes off that. That's how this was originally designed to be mounted, but it just didn't quite work for my setup. I have all that still, but I kind of changed it up, as you can see. But originally it had one of like the hoop mounts with the integrated tom mount, which I don't like. I just think it's a little clunky, and I don't like, it's not rigid, because, you know, there's nothing really holding it. It just kind of slips through the lugs. But what I did, Ludwig offers what's called the Atlas mount, and basically it's the lug with the tom mount integrated into it. It basically, you just take one of these out and put that in its place. I think I got like a 3-pack for like $75 or something like that. And I had these on my other kit, and they work really good. They're slick, and you know, they're very rigid. I had to buy this other arm, which was probably another $50 or $60 deal, but I was using another one that didn't quite fit the mount here, so I bought Ludwig, so it all kind of fit together. And it works really good for my setup. And I guess that's a good segue to talk about the hardware. Before, it was like Christmas 2015, my parents asked what I wanted, and I was kind of big into the drums at Morrisville College when I was there, and had been using my vintage kit with some hodgepodge vintage hardware, so I asked for a hardware pack. It was just a basic Ludwig hardware pack. It came with the hi-hat stand, a boom stand, a cymbal stand, and then the bass pedal. It's really nothing special. It's pretty basic beginner stuff. Had I done a little more research, I probably could have found something for the same money, but a little bit better quality. But I do like, I'm kind of a brand snob, so I do like that everything matches. But if I were to do it all again, I probably would do a little more research. But so that was the original pack, and then I have since added this boom stand, which is a little bit more of a higher grade of a Ludwig boom stand. It's pretty sturdy. The only problem I have is the wing nut is kind of a little wonky down there, so it takes a little bit to get it tightened. And then this upper piece here, the roll pin broke, so this kind of just free rotates. One of these days I'll fix it, but it's just kind of, I never use the stuff, so it's, you know, out of sight, out of mind. But this is kind of the backbone of my whole setup. It's got the rack tom mounted to it, of course this crash cymbal, and then my little splash cymbal stacked there. So that stand's doing a lot. You kind of have to position it just right, and otherwise it's a little tippy. But it's, you know, otherwise it's pretty sturdy. And I added this other little arm, which I'm pretty sure costs about as much as the boom stand, and it just kind of, you can see it links onto the end of that boom there. And it gets this splash cymbal set right where I need it. Yeah, I love that setup. It's, you know, like I said, it's been a couple years since I've even set this up. So it's not quite perfect. I'm pretty particular about how my drums are set up, and yeah, I can see that cymbal is just way wonky, but I'm very particular. I like everything everything is very precisely placed so that it's comfortable for me to play, and when I get dialed in, I could pretty much play with a blindfold, because everything is just where it's supposed to be. You know, I usually like to make sure the cymbals are at the same height going across. So this is just a quick and dirty setup, and I really need to dial it in, but it's been so long since I've set it up. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the cymbals. I guess we'll start with the ride cymbal. I have no idea. This looks like maybe a 22 maybe, I don't know. I should probably get a tape measure and measure it, but this was part of my original setup. And let me see if I can find the logo here. It is a Ludwig Standard, and that was made by Pasty, or Paste, however you say it. I can't quite find the logo. Sorry, the lighting's not the best in here. Ah, right there. Don't think it's gonna pick it up. Kind of see it right there, but I will include a picture of that. But yeah, this is from my original setup. The other cymbals I had were kind of the same thing as the hardware, hodgepodge together. But this is the only one I haven't felt the need to replace, because it just sounds wonderful for the type of music that I play. I love the finish on it. You know, one of my mentors growing up, he's very adamant, you know, you don't polish or clean cymbals. You know, you want this, I guess, I don't know if you call it varnish, or you want the aging, and if you were to clean it, it would change the tone, change the sound, so I just leave it right alone. It looks great, that patina, and it's kind of a homage to, you know, where I started. And then we'll move around here to the hi-hats. These are just a Zildjian K, I think the basic in the K line. These are 14-inch. These were actually given to me when I bought the other drum set I bought from my friend. He didn't like these, he threw these in. I don't really think they're my perfect hi-hat per se, but I do like they're a bit, I'd say, thicker. And when I do like when I'm playing like jazz, which is, you know, my favorite style, you know, I'm do the hi-hat on 2 and 4, it just has a good chick sound to it. But it does sound good, you know. So those are freebies, and I graciously accepted them. They do the job that I needed to. This 16-inch crash, medium thin crash, a Zildjian A. I mean, A is just the gold standard. Play any type of music with these, and they just sound good. This was another Christmas 2015 item, and I really just didn't have, I still don't have the experience of, you know, picking out cymbals and, you know, the different weights of cymbals, the different brands and models, and it's just kind of overwhelming. And you can't really watch a YouTube video because I think you can make anything sound good with the right editing and tweaking. But so basically, this was a shot in the dark for me. You know, I was pretty confident that I wanted a 16-inch crash, and I like the medium thin. It's just a little more bite to it, but it's not too heavy. I like more of a fast crash. I don't like one that's long and drawn out, and that just sounds good to me. But I bought it and I just wasn't, or I guess I got it for Christmas, and I just wasn't sure about it. I didn't know, you know, what to make of it. I was like, does that sound good? Does it not sound good? I don't really know what it's supposed to sound like. But as I played with it more and more, it started to become comfortable, and I started to really dial in how to utilize it. And I remember that show we were doing that year, Rocky Horror Picture Show, opening night, the first song we did, and I hit that first crash, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is it. This is what I've been missing. So I love that cymbal. And then from there, I got this 18-inch fast crash, and again, same deal. I didn't really know what I was looking for. I knew I wanted a bigger crash, just some different sounds. I like having different tools at my disposal, and this is an 18-inch A fast crash, and I thought the fast crash would kind of, you know, like I said, I like a cymbal that crashes and then it kind of gets out of the way. This one I would say is a bit long and drawn out. But I've come to like this cymbal as well, and what's interesting about this, I bought this off Reverb, and it was a NAMM demo. So this was, they call it a B stock on Reverb, but it was basically brand new, just, you know, a couple little blemishes here and there. You can see maybe some lines in it from doing just different like sick drags and stuff. But really the best part about this for me is when I do like a show, a lot of times you'll have to do suspended cymbal rolls to build suspense. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. I don't think I can. This cymbal just sounds absolutely amazing for that. Not sure how that came out in the video, but that I just love the way that cymbal sounds. And you know, like I said, when I'm stuffed backstage with no room to really work, it's nice to have a cymbal that can do dual duties, so to speak. What I really wish, Morrisville got some new stuff since I've been playing there, and they got a 17-inch A custom crash cymbal. That's just, I want one so bad. It's just an amazing sounding cymbal. It would be perfect for me. But you know, we love that, and like I said, you can do anything with an A. A Zildjian A, they're just so versatile. And then from there, we go to our little splash stack, I call it. This is inspired by Dave Weckl, my favorite drummer, he always has this basically the same setup. It's a 12-inch splash, and this is a 6-inch, which he uses a 12 and a 7, but Zildjian doesn't make a 7, and you know, like I said, I like to match, so I went with the 6 as opposed to the 8. I think for me the 8 sounds a little better, and I know how to use it a little better, but it would hang out a bit more, and there's not enough room to hit this. So the smaller splash prevails in this situation, but this A 12-inch A was a used cymbal I bought off a Facebook profile called Drum Flip. I don't even know if they're a thing anymore, but they had this listed for a pretty good price, and I picked it up. I like that cymbal a lot because it's, you know, it is at the end of the day a splash cymbal, and it's good for you know, doing some special stuff with that. But it also works as a crash cymbal, and I've grown to really like that when you need a crash sound, but you don't need a big crash sound. It fits in perfectly for a lot of the stuff that I do. So very, very happy to have that one as well. And then this is the last one I got, the 6-inch. It's an A custom. It's upside down, as you can see, and it, you know, sounds just like a splash, and it's hard for me to imagine, like, I can't play that cymbal. Like, it's one of those things where I just hit it in the heat of the moment, and it either works or it doesn't work. And I've had some times where it sounds really good, and I've had some times where it's not quite it. It's really good for, like, I'd say more like accents than like actual like crash hits, obviously, but you know, it does. It's a great cymbal. That's actually the second one I got. The first one I got, it had some minor like keyholing, like it looked like it was used. So they sent me another one, and actually this one wasn't really much better. So I'm wondering if they had like a bad batch of cymbals or something at the factory. But you know, it works. So that's pretty much it. You know, like I said, it really works well for me. It's very compact. You know, traveling and setting up at college for the different shows and performances that I would do, it just really kind of streamlined my whole experience. You know, I can get this from my parents and load it in the truck in about 5 minutes as opposed to like 10 or 15 minutes like it would take with my other setup. Oh yeah, so I got some different cases here too. This is the matching Ludwig case that I got for the Superphonic snare. These are great quality bags. They're soft bags, but they got some rigidity to them, and then they got the, I don't know, the wool or whatever inside. The only thing I don't like is there's just so much room in that case when the drum is in there. Like, the drum is swimming in there. I would prefer it to have a little bit tighter fit to it. And then here's this other cool little bald bearded guy there. Protection Racket, I think that might be the brand. This was a brand new one that I bought because I got a whole set of those, this brand with the Orange Mod kit, but there wasn't one for the snare drum. So I bought that for this drum, and it's a little bit nicer, snugger fit, so the drum doesn't bounce around in there as bad. I mean, that's not doing any damage to it. I just don't like, you pick it up and you can kind of feel the drum moving around. But what's funny about this snare drum is it kind of got the boot. I have my vintage 1965 snare drum gets stored in this one after I kind of refurbished it when I had COVID in 2021. But yeah, these cases are great, and they make moving this drum set a lot easier. And then we got This cymbal bag, it matches the snare. The snare bag, same series, Ludwig Atlas. This is a game changer. It fits all my cymbals. It can fit up to a 24-inch, and you can wear it like a backpack. It just makes moving the cymbals so easy. It keeps them nice and protected. There's different little dividers in here made of the same like wool material, and that just kind of has really streamlined my whole storage and moving and transporting. It just makes it a lot safer, a lot nicer. There's my friend's Pearl kit here. And then probably the single biggest game changer is this hardware bag. This thing is a monster. It's on wheels. It rolls nice even when it's loaded up. This was an absolute game changer. When I got the new hardware, I was just carting everything around in the big box that came in, and eventually that box fell apart. I remember I was getting it out of the back of my car one day, and it fell apart. So that was kind of a pain, having all the hardware loose. And then I got, when I got my next drum set, the Ludwig Keystones, that maybe I'll do a video on someday, but I started buying cases for that, and I was buying the red and black ones like you see there. So I have, a case for all those drums. And then I saw they had the matching hardware bag, and I was like, that's it. I need it. I don't know. I want to say this was like 130, 140 bucks, something like that. I know it was pretty pricey, but it is well worth it. All my hardware, the bass pedal, the hi-hat stand, the cymbal stands, all the tom mounts, fit right in there. You can't see, but I have some other miscellaneous stuff that I keep in there. It's just absolute game changer. And then this I actually picked up before any of it. And it matches too. It's my stick bag. The same Ludwig Atlas. And I got all kinds of sticks. I got a drum key. I always have a drum key. Always keep a pencil because you never know when you got to make changes to the music. And then in this front pouch, I keep a little miniature practice pad. So when I'm, waiting backstage for the show to start, I can kind of get my chops loosened up, and it doesn't make a lot of noise, and it has a really good feel to it. So as far as drumsticks, this is my main, I'd say, Vic Firth, Dave Weckl, his signature stick.
Yeah.
You're good. Alright, so the video just cut out because the GoPro died, but for sticks, I have always used the Vic Firth Dave Weckl, hopefully that's focusing, Evolution, his signature stick. I just really like them. I've been playing these since my freshman year of high school. I use mainly for performances the wood tip, but sometimes for practicing and just jamming I have the nylon tips. That way they don't get beat up. But when I was a freshman, I needed sticks, and the band director at the time at my high school, he said, go grab a set from the cabinet, and I landed on these. They're I just thought the color was kind of cool. I like how they're like a painted or a stained finish, and they just feel good. They feel really good. So I've used these ever since, and like I said, I started using the nylon tips for like rehearsals and just jamming, just so you don't bang up the tips. But for a while, I was pretty much getting a new set for every performance. You can see I got quite the collection of them in here. Like I said, there's a nylon tip one there. I usually try to keep one really good set, but I also picked up these Vic Firth American Classic 5A. They honestly feel similar to the the Dave Weckl sticks. It's got the same kind of painted finish, and these are just as I don't know how good in the video it's coming up, but we'll go against the white backdrop here. These are pink, and a fellow bandmate at Morrisville, her mom was, you know, dealing with cancer, so just kind of out of you know, to honor that and to support her, I started playing with pink drumsticks, and I had for a while, not on this drum set, my other one, I had a pink cancer ribbon sticker on my bass drum. But I still whip these babies out. They're fun to use. And then I was doing a show at another high school, and we were set up, you know, right in front of the stage and right in the auditorium. So the band director was like, you know, you're just gonna have to get your lightest stick and, you know, play quiet. So that's when I picked up these American Jazz AJ5. There's a bunch of different variations of this. I think all the tips are different, but I actually really like these sticks. You know, a lot of times when you're playing with a show with vocalists for a musical, they're not as you know, powerful with their voices they should be. So, you know, the first thing to get yelled at is the drums are playing too loud. So these allow me to play like I want to play without feeling like I'm holding back, and the volume isn't as great. And I also think these sound amazing on the snare drums. But I use these a lot. They're fun to use, really. And then, you know, I got some other stuff that I've picked up over the years. I've got some brushes, these Talawans. These are kind of fun. I think they're called like rods or whatever. But and then you saw the black yarn mallets. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, Mike. We'll call this part 1 because I do have 2 other drum sets that I could share, and hopefully I'll get to share those with you. And you know, for anyone else that may see this, I hope you enjoyed, and drop a comment for you know, if you play the drums. I'd love to hear what your setup is like. So thank you. Have a great day.